Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Hi, Marcy, how are you? Hi, Renata, how are you? Hi, Emily, nice to see you. Hi, Dana. Hello, nice to see you. How's everybody doing? Hi, Kelly. Hi, buddy. What's new, Sil? Hi, Susan. Such weird dreams. Yeah, me too, actually. Me too. Me too. The energy is always wonky around a full moon anyways, so I'm not surprised if anybody's having these intense dreams. And I have Sweet Pandy here. Yes, Dana. I just got home, like just in the door, and like she's all over me. Hi, Phil. How are you? Hola, my friend. Weird days these days? Not surprised. We're going to do a quick reading today. I don't have a ton of time, but I did want to hop on and see what's going on. Now, we are doing the full moon Zoom tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. If any of you would like to join us, it's $22. We're going to go over all the energies for the full moon coming up next week, and you'll get a personalized mini moon reading by the next new moon. Outdoor readings? You know what? If I could, I would. I mean, it's not always that simple, but it's a great idea. Thank you. I'm really curious to know everybody's word of the day today. Hi, Ardella. How are you? Love and light to you, too. Yeah, with the wind blowing and all the cards going everywhere. Could you imagine? Oh, man. The weather is so up and down. Let me tell you, we had this hot, hot, hot sunny weather. Today, dull, gray, rainy, stormed last night. Like, I don't even know. It's so up and down. I swear it just doesn't know left from right now. Good. I'm glad, Ardella. Nice to see you. Hi, Henry. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you. So, yeah, it's a quickie. We're having a quickie today. Crazy is the word. Okay, so tell me the word of the day, everybody. What's the vibe? What's the vibe? Let's get into it. I feel like there's all these energies popping up, coming through. So we know we've got some crazy energy, dreams, tiredness, emotions. Hi, Alman. How are you? Hi, Joan. You're all over the place today? No one word. Okay, I get it. I get it. Totally. Feelings. What else? Hi, Zombie. How are you? You feel the same way, Em? Yeah, I totally get it. Hi, Gina. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Gina, what's your word of the day today? Unrest. Yeah. There is this element of like, what's next? You know, unrest for what's next. You know, yours changes by the hour. Totally get it. Hi, Franks. How are you? Everything's shaking, Mike. How are you? What's new in your world? You feel body aches. You know what's interesting that you say that? I had a very sore neck the other day, and that's not normal for me. Maybe I slept funny. I don't know, but I did feel a bit of the body aches as well. You feel like, is it so, Henry? Is it like a feeling of being numb, or is it just like everything? You feel drained. Yeah, yeah, Gina. I understand. I think a lot of people, oh, my hair's all over the place. I apologize. I didn't even check my hair before I came on. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate it. Hi, Jyotish. Thank you. A little bit of everything, you believe? Yeah. Gratitude, Heather. That's nice. Hi, Jill. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday. Kelly Bundy. It's funny, not the first person to ever tell me that. Growing up with the name Kelly, it was popular at the time, right? All right, let's get into it. Let's pull some cards and kind of see. Let's see what's going on. Current energy today is, oh, the Five of Swords, conflict. Thank you. Hi, Johnny. How are you? How are things in Montréal aujourd'hui? There's conflict in the air. Headaches. What's the conflict? Thank you. That's my favorite eyeshadow color. I appreciate that. Aw, disappointment, Anne-Marie? How come? Thank you, Alberto. I appreciate it. Hi, Joanne. The Chariot is all about moving forward from conflict and headaches, you know? King of Cups is also on that card, and that can be this energy of emotions. Just be very careful that you're not making decisions based on emotions right now. Trust, it's a vicious cycle. It can be, Anne-Marie. It can be. And it depends with whom, right? You're feeling like a butterfly struggling to get out of the cocoon, fed up with this chapter. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. Hi, Sarah. That's really what it is. You know, it's growing pains. The caterpillar goes into the cocoon basically thinking that it's dying, right? And so when we go through the motions, it's not easy. Not easy at all. So, Minnie, we're going to do a general collective reading. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Bonjour, Mathieu. How are you? So let's see. Let's see what the potential or challenge is with this energy today. Yeah, makes sense, Stella? Oh, you're very kind, Alberto. Thank you. Hi, Blake. How are you? Good afternoon, Eleanor. Rebirth isn't easy. Nobody ever said it would be easy. That is for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. Which message, Renata? You mean like the spam one? If that's what you're referring to? It's hot there. Is it dull and rainy though, Matt? Because it's so dull and rainy here. You know? So the potential or challenge today is the King of Pentacles. This is the point. It's a long journey. It's a long road. Change is never easy, but it's worth it. Always, always worth it. So this basically is telling us that it's not going to harvest overnight. It is such a long, slow journey. But anything that comes too fast, right, or we think happens overnight is not going to sustain itself because it rides in quickly and it leaves just as fast. So remember that. Things that take time are probably more worth it in the end. As I always say, do we want short-term gain, long-term pain, right? Or short-term pain, long-term gain? You have to ask yourself. Hi, Jose. How are you? Hi, Raven. So Stella, that's a very popular question. So Stella just asked, I just want to know, is he still coming? The more we focus on whether someone's coming back, and I say this to you with absolute love and respect, the more we're focusing on whether somebody's going to come back, the more we're going to wait. And that is really, really tricky because it means we're trying to control things. Hi, Emma. How are you? People do come back, but you have to remember what energy is. The more you focus on someone's energy, they feel that. They subconsciously feel that. And people run away from that. They don't like pressure. Even if you don't think you're pressuring, if you're looking at old pictures, if you're reading old conversations, if you're, you know, I don't know, obsessively thinking about them, or you're wanting to push something so much, you want to contrive it, it goes the other direction. Do you ever notice that when you're not paying attention to someone or something, all of a sudden you get that message and you get that phone call or whatever it is? It's like watching a pot of boiling water. Go sit and watch a pot of boiling water and tell me how that feels. Or watching paint dry, right? Well, the definition of obsessive depends on the person, but all I'm saying is that overthinking, overanalyzing, chasing will make you wait longer. you know? And I say that with love and respect. I don't say that to trigger anybody, you know? When you focus on you, everybody wants a piece of you. When you're overgiving to everybody else, notice they don't want it, you know? Hi, Kathleen, how are you? So Vegas is about to be 38 degrees every day. Oh, wow. But you watch paint dry daily? Mike just said, you have to ask yourself, do you really want them back or do you want how they made you feel? That is very true. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's part of what it is. And if somebody can't give, we have to respect that. Or if somebody isn't in the capacity or doesn't have the capacity, you have to respect it. You can't force anybody to take accountability. You can't force anybody to want to date. You can't force anybody to be in a long-term relationship or to do things the way that we want. It just doesn't work that way, you know? Detachment is a real skill, for sure. For sure. But again, it's up to each individual to work on themselves, right? We're all responsible for our own healing. I always talk about the fact that I can understand. But I don't have to allow these things or accept them into my life. You know, in other words, if someone can't give or they're avoidant, they have to be the ones to recognize that and get help for that. So Fancy Pants, what do you mean? Like, we don't have to respect people like that? In what sense? I'm not sure. Because we kind of talked about a few different things. But, you know, if somebody doesn't have the capacity, there's not much we can do. After he has his dark night. The only thing, Stella, is that someone's dark night of the soul is uniquely their own, right? Or their healing is uniquely their own. People don't change. Thank you, Stella. People don't change in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. You know, hi, Jennifer. Change takes time, a lot of time. It has taken me 10 years to get to the point where I'm at right now. And I'm not saying it's going to take 10 years for all of you. But what I'm saying is that the more we get into the old stories or keep the nostalgia going or focusing on another person and what their problems are, you end up like taking the focus off yourself, you know? And Eleanor just said, I've learned to honor their healing journey. You have to understand that more than likely, whatever person it is that you're dealing with is 10 steps behind you. You have to remember that you were once in that position. And I don't mean they're better than or less than, but like you're here and they're here. They're 10 steps behind you. And you can't get mad at them because in theory, they don't know any better. Now, I'm not excusing bad behavior, but you have to understand you allow certain behaviors. If fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If I'm allowing the behavior over and over again and expecting something to change, then that's on me. So it's a tough one. You have to learn how to pick your battles or to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You know? People have to work on themselves in peace without any interference. You know? Hi, Caesar. How are you? Hi, Jake. How are you? So, yeah, I know the gambler. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, right? But the thing, Matt, that I'm gonna say, Matt just said, I give a lot with my heart and have been heartbroken. The problem is that when we give with our heart, you have to make sure that you don't have expectations attached to them because that is what usually happens subconsciously. Whether anyone wants to admit it or not, there is an expectation usually linked to it. I want you to love me the way, you know, I'm loving you. But that's not love languages. You can't love people the way you want to be loved. You have to love them the way they want to be loved. And if they don't love the same way or want to be loved the same way, we have to respect that. I do think so, Jen. I agree with you. Jen just said, I think we can occasionally make a leap, though. Yes, there is truth to that. But that takes somebody who really wants it and isn't battling. There's a slew of things that somebody could be battling, right? So you always have to remember what expectations are you putting into your love? Because we don't think we're doing it. But I think if we were all honest with ourselves, I mean, I can be honest and say that in the past I've done that too. You know, I wanted it my way. I was thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about the other person, whether they were dealing with trauma and family issues and financial issues and self-esteem issues. I was thinking about myself. I just wanted to be loved. And you got to remember that just because we want to be loved doesn't mean that they are ready to give love themselves. Do they love themselves? Can they give love to themselves? You know? So, and expectations, yes, they do give us disappointment, 100%. And I think the bottom line, and I hate saying this, I'm included in this, by the way. This is something that I'm not saying is excluded from me. You have to remember that we need to stay in our own lane sometimes. Hi, Ella. How are you? You know, like we have to stay in our own lane. We are not judge, jury, executioner. We do not have the right to tell people how to live and to do. You don't want to be told how to live and what to do. Imagine somebody comes to you right now and says, I love you, I love you, I love you. I want to give, 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 give. You know what you would do? You would go, I'm sorry, who are you talking to right now? You would go run for the hills if somebody was applying that level of pressure to you. And so remember that it is pressure. No matter which way you think about it, it is pressure. And all I can tell you is that when somebody's pressuring me for something, I go the other direction. You know, I don't want to be forced into something that I'm not interested in. I don't have to do what other people tell me to do. You don't have to do what other people tell you to do. Nobody has to do what everyone tells them to do. But as soon as you start feeling pressure, you run, and you have to think about the other side of the coin or the shoe on the other foot. If you're trying to push somebody into something, they're going to go the other direction. That's why they always say, if somebody's about to walk out the door, let them. Let them. Because if you start grabbing their jacket, their sweater, their shirt, whatever, they're not going to come back. The people who you give freedom to are more than likely to come back to you. I know, Matt. I know you are. I know you're wonderful. But your people are your people are your people. You're not going to lose what's meant for you. And if somebody can't give, then you've got to basically like understand. Exactly. The mind shift. Yeah, the mind shift. Sorry, I was going to say it sound like mind shit. Mindset shift. Absolutely. It can be immediate, but the time to change the habits is what takes. Bonjour, Kathy. Oh, perfect. I can't wait to see you at the Zoom. Yeah, we're doing the Zoom Friday night, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the full moon in Sagittarius. Exactly, Phil. What's meant for you won't pass you by. How do you get through someone that you love them unconditionally when the person has a fear of rejection? You can't. That's what I was just saying. Hi, Cindy. You can't. You can't get through to them. You can't convince them. You don't need to convince them. The person that loves you, you don't have to convince. There will be no conversation of convincing. You will not need to convince. Would I call or text a guy to see if he's okay? Depends on the circumstances. If this person has gone silent, if this person has, I mean, sometimes yes, but I wouldn't be like constantly texting them. So the King of Pentacles is the potential or challenge. It's a long road, right? But we have to be in the present moment. Yeah. People have to work on themselves daily. So Raven, if it's somebody you're going back and forth with and they're not showing up and they're not consistent, then no, I wouldn't be running after them at a certain point. You know, they know our number. They know where we are. And unfortunately, the more you chase, the more they'll run. And second of all, even if you do text them and they respond, that's not an indicator of whether they want to be in a relationship. Because I've had it where, sure, they responded instantly, but that didn't mean that their car was in my driveway. If you know, we talk about that line all the time, is the car in the driveway. So what should we focus on today? It's the Nine of Pentacles. I mean, you can't make that up. Feeling good in your own skin. Look, the more you pour into you, the more you do for you, the more everybody else wants to give to you. The more you're trying to fix everybody else, the more nobody's going to want what you're offering. Sometimes silence becomes the answer. It's a boundary. And you have to sit in it and be okay with it. And that's hard for people. I mean, I've been there. Trust me. It's not easy. And there's the Falcon. We're going to rise above. We're going to feel better in our own skin. We're going to transition into new energy. Hi, Lucia. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Let's see the recent past. Spying or observing. Okay, I've seen this come through in the cards actually quite a bit. Be careful. Energetic chasing. You know? Hi, Karma Kittens. You want to you want to get into this? Karma, I love you, kittens, but we can't do this right now. Come here. Come. Come. You're going to decide what to do? Come, let's go. Okay, now you want attention. You don't want it. Okay, come. She wants to, I bet you any money, she wants to lay right on top of the cards. I know some of you can't see her. I know Instagram you can see her, but her a little bit of her ear. Okay, but don't. Karma Kittens. Oh, I love you. But we can't do this right now. Okay. Good to see you too, Lucia. So let's see. Thank you. I appreciate it. Highlight. Recent past is baggage, burdens, guilt, shame, regret, feeling heavy, weighed down, emotional, you know. Good. I'm glad, Mike, to hear that. Wonderful. The strength position is the 10 of Cups, happiness. It's one thing to ask for, another thing to allow it. The problem is that we go through so many shifts in our nervous system, you know. Traumas don't help, triggers don't help. In order to change that, we have to learn how to work through it, not avoid it. So let's see. And there's the moon. The moon is all about purging and surrendering and letting go so that you can allow new energy in. And by the way, if you've got old memories, old pictures, old everything on your phone, how can new photos come in? How can new memories come in? It's kind of like symbolic of us energetically. If we're always focusing on the old, how's anything new going to come in? How do we know something's not going to be the best thing that ever happened to us? Hi, Nick. Drive safely. You know, it was interesting. I had a student ask me a really sweet question the other day. She was asking me about whether she should take a specific course next year. She's like, Miss, I don't know if I want to take anthropology. And I said, okay, well, do you know what anthropology is? And so we went through a definition of anthropology. And I said, so what else would you rather take? And she was kind of like, not sure, you know. And I said, well, you like the idea of human history or studying humans. I said, how do you know it's not going to be the best thing that ever happened to you? And she's like, Miss, you ate with that one. And I was like, I know. Because how do you know it's not going to be the best thing that ever happened to you? How do you know you're going to learn something absolutely amazing? How do you know that's not going to shape you into wanting to do other things or encourage you to do other things? Right? So, yeah, the study of human nature, right? Human nature, human history. Needless to say, she went to the guidance counselor. She came back and she said to me, Miss, I didn't change it. I kept the anthropology. She goes, I think you're right. I'm going to try it. And I was like, good, because that's what we need to do is spark new energy. So the near future is the 7 of Wands. Are you on the offensive or are you on the defensive? This basically is an energy that says, are you a wounded animal in the corner, as I always describe it? Are you defensive? Or are you willing to sort of stand up and open yourself to something new, to speak up? Human nature, you love the song by Michael Jackson? Me too. One of my favorites. So 7 of Wands, there's the dog. Supportive energy. You're supported. Try something new. Oh, that's an interesting question, Akshat. Is disappointment a reflection of the other person's actions or our own illusions? Great question. That depends on the expectations. And I think what you mean by illusions is you mean expectations. You marry potential, you divorce reality. So just because we'd like to think people would do things the way we do them doesn't mean that they will do things the way we do them, right? Beautiful, Matt. That's a lovely song to play. So let's take a look at the suggested approach. I got to go in a few minutes. 6 of Pentacles, equal giving and receiving. I mean, that's what we want. Suggested approach, find balance. Yeah, Nick just said our expectations of their behavior. Yes. And there's the rabbits, new beginning. Suggested approach is balance and a new beginning, right? A return on your investment. So let's take a look at what do we need to know There's the Page of Wands. Throw caution to the wind. Enjoy life. Go on an adventure. Do something new. Do something fun. Be open to new ideas. And there's the owl. The owl's about wisdom and communication and knowledge, right? Look, I'm going to repeat myself as I always say this. Knowledge is power, yes, but what you do with that knowledge is even more powerful. You can know all the information in the world, all the curriculum in the world, but that doesn't mean they're a good teacher. It's how you communicate that knowledge, how you put yourself out there, you know, how you transmute that energy. And so the owl says, secrets lifted, seeing through the facade. You're going to see things more clearly, but you got to put yourself out there. We sure do, Mike. We sure do. Okay, the hope and or fear is the world. Well, we hope for new energy, but we fear it all at the same time. Right? Everybody wants the new, but they're afraid of what's next. How do you know it's not going to be the best thing that ever happened to you? How do you know? The loons is about commitment and manifestation. And therefore, the garden is about something being publicly known, which I know is kind of a weird thing. Hi, Clivey. But this energy basically says, be open to the possibilities. Manifest new things. If you're in the same old, same routine every single day, you're going to get the same thing tomorrow and every day after. Yeah, we got to leave the comfort zone because the comfort zone's not so comfortable. Because if it was, why would you want to leave it? You have to trust, Renata. Exactly. Exactly. So let's take a look at the probable outcome. Queen of Wands, confidence, strut your stuff. Believe in yourself. Walk around like you own it. You deserve it. And with that, we have here the Six of Swords moving on to calmer waters and peace. Okay? That's what's important, is finding your peace. And we actually just talked about this. Thank you, Stella. God bless you too. We want to bring on the new, Sarah. There's the light bulb. There's the clarity coming through, everybody. I believe that wholeheartedly. And with that, the stars, wishes coming true and healing. Everything is going to be okay. It really is. I got to run, everybody. I got to get ready for my next session, but I'm at least happy that I could get on for a little bit and see you and talk. Oh, that'd be nice, Kyle. The link is in my description box below if you'd like to do a personal reading with me, or my link in my bio on TikTok, on Instagram. But I got to run, unfortunately. Ah, you're putting, good for you, Phil. You're putting yourself out there to grow. Here's Karma back again here, looking to stir things up. So, you're right. It might be much better than you thought. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Raven. I'm glad it helped. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. I love you guys. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at the full moon Zoom. Like I said, if anybody wants to come tomorrow, talk about the full moon Zoom with a few spicy cards and see what's up, please join us. Okay. Good night, Jose. Good night, Em. Good night, Dana. Thank you. I appreciate my moderators. Like I said, I got to go, but I wish you all a good day wherever you are in this world. Okay. All right. Time tomorrow. The full moon Zoom is at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern. We're there for a couple hours together. We talk about different things that are going on, and then we pull the cards. And then, like I said, I send you a personalized mini reading by the next new moon. So a couple weeks later. Okay. All right. I got to run. Bye, IG. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Afternoon quickie is perfect. Right. Exactly, Mike. Take care. Bye. Okay, YouTube. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and we'll talk soon.